Hello, everyone, and thank you so much for joining us for our dancing connections, sharing our stories, creating connections, building time together, our online festival hosted by Dance for Parkinson's Australia. My name is Erica Rose Jeffrey, and I'm one of the directors of Dance for Parkinson's Australia, and I'm so thrilled that we can all be together today. Before we go any further with our program, I want to start by inviting my colleague, mentor, arts and health leader, Marianne Wobcke, to offer an acknowledgement. Thank you, Marianne.
Thank you, Erica Rose. Good morning and warmest welcome to everybody in attendance today. So let's take a moment to create connection to ourselves on country. Feet firmly on the land beneath you. And now to make connection with country inside through our breath, enriching every cell of our body and supporting us to let go and relax as much as possible for today. If it feels comfortable, just soften your gaze and bring your attention within to listen deeply. Da-diddy. I am an Indigenous midwife, a nurse, an artist, researcher, storyteller, shapeshifter, a creator. I was born in Southeast Queensland, Brisbane, Mianjin, the land of the blue lilies, from where I'm meeting with you today. The traditional custodians of the Turrbal and Yagara people. I wish to offer my respects also to Girramay country, North Queensland, the birthplace of my maternal grandmothers. I acknowledge the lands on which each of you are coming to us from various virtual locations and spaces here across Australia and the world. We welcome and celebrate our richly diverse and inclusive community as we create connections through sharing our stories. I acknowledge Indigenous knowledge systems, the sacred lineage of songs, dances, and stories, our songlines, the interconnected air, land, seas, and waterways cared for meticulously by our First Nations people for tens of thousands of years. And recognizing sovereignty was never ceded. I pay my respects to all First Nations people with us and to the Indigenous spirit that connects us all. I acknowledge our elders, past, present, and those emerging, with a special emphasis on Dance for Parkinson's synchronistic merging with this year's NAIDOC theme, Our Elders. Dance for Parkinson's is leading the way as we enjoy a renaissance of deep appreciation for our precious elders, our valued custodians and ancestral knowledge holders. I acknowledge the outstanding innovation that is Dance for Parkinson's and the elders and the emerging elders located throughout this extraordinary community of care as it continues to expand its influence and practice globally. I acknowledge the 10th birthday milestone for Dance for Parkinson's in Australia and each of you who have contributed passionately to exploring the frontiers beyond supporting those suffering from disease to inspiring hope, transformation, and healing for individuals, their families, and community, ensuring we all enjoy our birthright to age creatively. Dance for Parkinson's restores dignity and delight, purpose and belonging, absolutely transforming a legacy of restriction, rigidity, and suffering. Collectively and creatively, you have branded a disease. You are leaders at a frontier of the emerging wellbeing paradigm. 10 years merely reflects the tip of the iceberg, not the extraordinary depth and magnitude of Dance for Parkinson's, rightfully globally recognized for outstanding innovation in its many incarnations in hundreds of communities and over 28 countries around the world. Since 2012, which I believe was around the conception and followed by the birth officially with the teachers training in 2013, Dance for Parkinson's Australia has remained committed to inspiring, training, nurturing and certifying facilitators with a focus on creating and fostering connection. This organisation is an incubator for thought leaders and for many inspiring movement specialists and teachers, some of who you will experience today, and all motivated to inspire those impacted by Parkinson's to reconnect with their body, mind, and spirit in a safe, enjoyable social ecology that redefines them archetypally as dancers, not patients. To be guided into the body's resistance by a dance specialist ignites and nurtures a confidence, stimulating curiosity and self-exploration, self-reflection, gently held in a beautiful container for transformation. Empowering participants and their care partners and families with a sense of infinite physical possibility, artistic achievement. This develops agency and allows self-esteem and well-being to flourish. Thank you for participating in this ritual of gratitude with me today. I am honoured to share this important acknowledgement of country with you on behalf of our First Nations people. May you be open to receiving the epic, profound, holistic, healing and transformative experiences that have been created to guide you on your dance journey throughout this online festival. I leave you in the care of an exceptional team of presenters. Thank you.
Thank you, Marianne, for that beautiful acknowledgement and the wisdom that you shared in your words and reflections about our journey and the power of dance to connect communities. Thank you so much. Thank you also for being an ongoing advocate for the work that we do and for being a mentor in our conversations and the way in which we continue to grow and learn and share this work. I too would like to make an acknowledgement of the traditional owners of the lands from where I'm joining today, the Yagara and Turrbal peoples near Mianjin or Brisbane, and to pay my respects to elders past, present, and emerging. And to really think about this idea of connections and sharing stories and how it helps us all to build our communities across time, across space, across geography, across differences in culture, and how we can find ways to come together and build health, well-being, and strong communities for all of us. So today in this intro session, we're going to take the time to give a little bit of information about the festival, what's coming up for you. Also, we'll have a chance to introduce and hear from Dance for Parkinson's Australia's other co-directors, Jessica Conneely and Philip Piggin, as well as some opening remarks from Professor George Mellick. So before I talk a little bit about the background of Dance for Parkinson's Australia and share some of our story, just making sure that everybody who's joining via the live stream knows that there's a sort of different tabs that you can access when you're looking at the live stream sort of screen. So you can go to see who the presenters are. These are at the top right hand of your screen. See the quick program view. If you need any help, there are the event support, so numbers to contact, and an email as well. So let us know if you reach out if you need any help and have any questions. So in the spirit of sharing our stories, I'm just going to briefly talk a little bit about Dance for Parkinson's Australia and our journey before passing to my colleagues. And there's lots of things that I would love to say about the connections, the wonderful relationships that we've built over the last 10 years in starting the program here in Australia. But for me, it's really one of the key elements is about the relationships that we've built, the way that we've been able to collaborate across contexts. So following along from the idea of working together, and that standing together, holding hands together, we can accomplish more in community than we can on our own. So I originally became involved in the Dance for Parkinson's program while living in the US, and was inspired by the work of Dance for PD in the United States and the wonderful work of program founder and Dance for PD director David Leventhal and the Mark Morris Dance Group. And so when I had the opportunity to come to Australia, I had long conversations with David about the opportunities to start a Dance for Parkinson's program here in Australia. So together, working with many incredible individuals and organizations, we were able to hold the first teacher training in 2013 in Queensland and in Sydney. And from there, we've continued to build these strong relationships. And I'm so pleased that now we are offering over 35 classes, both online and in person, across Australia. And we're continuing to innovate in our in-person experience as well as online events like this. I also feel so proud that Dance for Parkinson's Australia continues to be a leader in the arts, health, and well-being space in Australia and also in the Asia and Pacific region. And it's through these relationships with different arts organizations, service organizations, and health organizations that we continue to lead and build the conversation around what does quality of life look like? How can we all work for better access and inclusion? And how can we continue to create the kind of communities that we all want to live in as we age? How can we age creatively together? So I would love to share more about the different elements of our story and the details, but I'm happy to do that in other ways. I want to give opportunity to some of the amazing people who have really supported us to grow, because this could not be done without that strong community connection. So I'm going to invite my amazing colleague from Canberra, Philip Piggin, to share a little bit about the festival and what's coming up for you today. Thank you so much. Look forward to dancing with you together.
Thank you, Erica Rose, and indeed a very warm welcome, everybody, to this packed full 2-day online festival. My name's Philip Piggin, and I'm speaking from Ngunnawal and Ngambri country in the ACT. Canberra is our city, and I would also like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of this land where I'm speaking from, and thank them for their many, many thousands of years of caring for this land on which we now work, dance and play. It's such a thrill to have so many people from around our global village join us today to share their practice, support us, and or have their batteries recharged. We have a very rich banquet of offerings over the next 2 days, and a massive thanks to all those presenters from near and far who have joined us. We are deeply grateful for your time and contributions. You will see from the program that we have around 10 different sessions over the next 2 days, including classes, forums, Q&A sessions, road trips, and a chance to do some networking. We so hope you will enjoy whatever part of the banquet you can fit into your busy life schedule, and please do share your feedback with the evaluations that will be sent to you later today. This helps us in planning for our next one to make it even better. I must add a big thanks to the team of Dance for Parkinson's Australia, who have worked tirelessly over the last months, putting together this extraordinary kaleidoscope of events. And especially you, Erica Rose. We are so pleased that Australia is your home now. Thank you. Over to you, Jess.
Thank you, Philip, and welcome everybody. Yes, my name is Jessica Conneely, and I'm joining you from Wobcke lands in Newcastle, New South Wales. I pay my respects to elders past, present and emerging, and acknowledge Indigenous and First Nations participants joining us today. I'd like to make a couple of special mentions before we get going. The first is that this is our National Volunteer Week. So a very, very special mention to all our volunteers. Firstly, for our volunteers joining us over the next 2 days in dedicating their time and efforts to supporting the festival. Secondly, to our tireless and regular volunteers who make our teams and classes across the country run smoothly from week to week, supporting our teaching artists and our beautiful dancing participants across the country. And as Philip mentioned, our very dedicated Dance for Parkinson's committee and team members who also dedicate their efforts and constant contributions to our committee and organisational needs that we need to support the organisation. A special mention must be, as also Philip mentioned, to Erica Rose Jeffrey, who planted the seed of Dance for Parkinson's back in 2012. And we'd just like to thank her for all her creative and inspirational contributions over time. And we are all very proud to be part of this wonderful organisation and continue to be inspired by both Erica, David, and all our beautiful teaching artists. So I would like to hand you back to Erica Rose to do further introductions. I hope you enjoy the festival.
Thanks so much, Philip and Jess. So one of the things that I think is really exciting and interesting about ongoing work in dance health and well-being is the opportunity to connect with research, with health professionals. And this is something that I've really been inspired by in terms of Dance for PD and the leadership that they've shown, in that from the very beginning, it was about partnering with Parkinson's organizations, so leading from a Parkinson's perspective, with health professionals and with artists. And so the idea that these classes, these experiences are very much about art at the center. It is happening, though, in collaboration with a whole network of individuals, organizations, and ideas. So in thinking about our journey here in Australia, when we were able to do that first teacher training in 2013, and David Leventhal was able to come over from the United States and be here in person and share that knowledge. And from that, we were able to have these little kernels start to spread out and expand, and that idea of continuing to build and share together. But with that, we also had the really great opportunity to partner with research organizations. And that's something that Dance for PD has really modeled from the beginning. And if you look internationally, there's now over 40 articles, scientific peer-reviewed journal articles about the benefits of dance for people living with Parkinson's. And that's just adding to the whole body of knowledge, of research, of work that's being done around dance for aging, creative aging in general across multiple populations, about the power of the arts to continue to really lead us into having a high quality of life throughout the lifespan. So when we first were able to launch the classes here in Queensland, we had a wonderful partnership with the Queensland Ballet, where we are still partnering to lead classes till this day. So we had a partnership with the Queensland Ballet, Queensland University of Technology and the University of Queensland. And this allowed us to do a pilot research study on the benefits of dance classes for people living with Parkinson's, and really started to establish and build the support for this kind of initiative, this dance and health initiative in Australia. And so we've really led from that in terms of ongoing relationships with the Parkinson's organizations, with health professionals, with researchers, as we all try to continue to grow this field of practice together. And I'm so honored that today we're being joined by Professor George Mellick, who is a professor of neuroscience and head chief clinical neuroscience at Griffith University for drug discovery. And he is also an incredible advocate for people affected by neurological disease and is currently president of Parkinson's Queensland and chair of the Parkinson's Australia board. We're so pleased that you're able to join us today, Professor Mellick, and thank you for your ongoing work in both the clinical sense, the advocacy sense, and your wonderful sense of community. Thank you so much. And I'll pass to you.
Thank you very much, Erica Rose. I'm absolutely delighted to be joining you today from Yagara and Terrible Country here in Brisbane. And thank you very much for the invitation to be part of this wonderful event. As you mentioned, I have a number of I'm wearing a number of hats in my joining you this morning. I am currently the chair of Parkinson's Australia, and Parkinson's Australia is a national not-for-profit established to improve the quality of life of people and well-being of people living with Parkinson's and also other related neurological disorders in Australia through raising awareness, lobbying and advocacy, and promoting research. And I'm also the chair of our local state-based peak body, Parkinson's Queensland Incorporated. I'm speaking to you today from Griffith University here in Queensland, where my day job is as a teaching and research academic, and my research interest is obviously the causes and treatments for conditions like Parkinson's disease. So undertaking all of these activities, I'm exceptionally passionate about improving the lives of people living with Parkinson's and related challenges. And generally, I'm very passionate about promoting health and happiness to our community. So I'm really, really delighted to be part of this welcome session of the Creating Connections, Sharing Our Stories Creative Aging Festival. And it's great that we're celebrating 10 years for Dance for Parkinson's here in Australia. Dance is just a great activity and it's wonderful for everyone. It's got so many positive effects for people, no matter what your age or your ability. And it's been fantastic for me to interact with Erica Rose here in Brisbane on many occasions when she's been demonstrating the Dance for Parkinson's activities at our community events, whether it be for Parkinson's Queensland or other Parkinson's organisations. I'm sure that this online festival will be another exceptional event, and I really hope it leads to new conversations and meaningful collaborations between all of you who are online and joining us today. From a scientific perspective, there's absolutely no doubt about the therapeutic and clinical benefits of dance for people living with Parkinson's. Peer-reviewed research in the medical literature, including several studies, as Erica Rose has mentioned from here in Queensland, have shown that dance classes can improve not only the motor symptoms for Parkinson's, but also the psychological symptoms, the cognitive skills, and also the quality of life of all those who are engaged in the activities. And these benefits are not only small studies, but now they've been confirmed through large-scale systematic reviews and meta-analyses. And there's more research coming out and being published all the time. Not to mention that dance is just fun and a fantastic activity, a great social activity for all those involved. Of course, more research needs to be done, but there's little doubt that we need more people to be engaged in activities like those being presented by Dance for Parkinson's. I hope everyone has a wonderful couple of days. The program looks amazing. I think it's great that you've been able to put together an online festival, something we may not have even thought about a few years ago, but it's a fantastic job, and congratulations to all those involved. I wish you a fantastic time. And again, Erica Rose, thank you for inviting me to be part of this great event. Have a great couple of days. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Professor Mellick. And we very much appreciate the work that you're doing in so many different spaces and your kind words. And thank you for your support. As you said, we believe dance is fun too, and really invite everyone to join in. And as we go through the next 2 days and the different kinds of activities. And we're also great supporters of the whole range of activities, ways that people can stay active as we all think about the ways that we journey into the next stages of our lives. One of the things that I think I continually am inspired by is that fact of this, the idea of a lifelong learning, this idea of my identity as an artist being a space and a place where I continue to learn and grow and really expand my knowledge while being in service and connected to other community members. And I think in many ways, that's the idea of us coming together, of sharing our knowledge while also learning from others over the next 2 days. It's also a challenge for us in the ways that dance is an embodied, a felt, a very physical activity happening in a multi-dimensional space, time, with sound, with rhythm. And to think about the ways in which we can create that same kind of feeling, those connections, even in a virtual space. We acknowledge that there are challenges for people in terms of transport, in terms of getting to in-person activities. And while we strive to create those kinds of in-person opportunities and connections as much as possible, we're also very interested in what are the other ways in which we can continue to expand our own knowledge and really work to create connections and access across both the land of Australia as well as the wider Asia and Pacific region. So I just want to say thank you all for joining us as we are starting off this 2-day festival. Just a few notes on what will happen next. In terms of the sessions, the easiest way to find out what's happening next is to go to the Quick Program View tab. Within that, it will guide you to whether you need to join via the live stream, as we are now, or to click on the Zoom link to jump into a Zoom meeting. And if we think about sort of those transitions, it may take a little bit of time, but we're all here to support everyone as they make those digital transitions. So the next session that we will be traveling to will be with our wonderful colleagues from Canada and the Dancing with Parkinson's program in Canada. And so in just a minute, we'll close this session and I'll invite everyone to travel via the Zoom link to join us together for that session for some seated chair dancing. And also learning about the program that they've initiated and started that's been running for 15 years. And just in closing for this introductory session, I really invite you to think of this time, this space as an opportunity to try something new, to ask questions, to engage in this dialogue about what does creative aging look like? What are the ways in which I can do that in my own lives? How can I support that in the lives of the people around me, in my own family, my own community? And also, what are the ways in which we want to think about that on a larger scale in our state, in our country, in our region? And what are the ideas in which we can start to sort of percolate and simmer about the kind of communities that we want to look forward to, that we're building, we're starting the seeds, we're planting them, we're nurturing them, and we're thinking about how can we continue to build quality of life across ages, across cultures, across communities, and across distance. So thank you so much for joining us for this intro session for our Creating Connections, Sharing Our Stories online festival. We look forward to dancing, to singing, and to sharing more stories with you. Thank you.